I am Kaja, and my topic issue is Black Lives Matter, or injustice in general. Introduction. Black Lives Matter, known as BLM, is a movement made back in 2013 that was formed after the tragic death of Trayvon Martin in 2012. There was also another death back then. I think his name was Eric Gardner. That also could have affected, but yeah. Back in 2020, during the outburst of George Floyd's tragic death, the movement started to increase in numbers of participants of trying to find ways, but also fighting hard to make a change with the horrible treatment of the Black and POC communities. The creators of the movement are Alyssa Garza, Patrice Cullors, and Opal Tomidi. The importance of BLM. The injustice against Black Americans has gotten worse almost every year round. Almost all the deaths of Black people were gun violence, and simply because they were either misunderstood or trying to protect themselves from what's to come. BLM exists to put hope and positivity in this society, but also to work hard to end such a worldwide problem. BLM doesn't just bring together Black people, but also allies from different communities putting their all into making changes. AAs, meaning African Americans, and POC people in general are the main ones taking the impact of the movement, but also the allies. BLM and the media. In 2020, there was a trend for the injustice of AAs by posting a black screen on your Instagram, Facebook, etc. page with the hashtag blackout. The results of the trend received lots of backlash due to being seen as lazy and not really helping the issue spread it, but be helpful. It was also seen as whoever participated in the hashtag wanted to just get clout and attention instead of being serious about it. I also forgot to put this, but there was also a time where the haters of BLM, or the people that were against it, made trends or hashtags like Whiteout Tuesday or Whiteout in general, and it was basically like blackout, but white people would poke fun of Black Lives Matter basically, and other type of hashtags that did the same thing back then, especially in 2020 with the outbursts back in May and June. Besides that, most of the people that sees these issues through the media are today's generations, which is Gen Z. Some are also back in, I don't know if they're called millennials, but it's mostly the generation of today, so us. BLM is viewed as something we can use to spread both positivity and negative information. Depends on the person, what they feel about the movement, injustice, etc. So what I mean by that also, like I said earlier, with the white, backlash, there can also be negative spreading and trying to put down the movement in general and making the movement basically look bad, even though sometimes, depending on the person in the movement, it can make it, not as positive as it should be. Organizations that helped out. Some organizations that helped partnered with BLM are Black Alliances for Just Immigrations, BAJI, formed to bring Black voices together to advocate for equality and justice in our laws and our communities. Color of Change, COC, the nation's largest online racial justice organizations and has more than 1.5 million members. The Movement of Black Lives, TMOBL, in response to the substance and the increasing visible violence against Black communities in the U.S. and globally, a collective of more than 50 organizations representing thousands of Black people from across the country have come together with renewed energy and purpose to articulate a common vision and agenda. Undocumented Black Network, UBN, the Undocumented Network is a multi-generational network of currently and formerly undocumented Black people that foster communities, perpetuation, access resources, and contribute to transforming the realities of our people so we are driving and living our fullest lives. The help of college students. College students can do a lot to help spread the word and fight of BLM. For one, depending on their majors, like artist, speaker, writer, etc., can be very helpful to gather other students to stop to look deeper into the issue of the world and put their talents and thoughts into it. Students can even make mini protests across campus with positive things like dancing, drawing, etc., including just not show and help their understanding the movement, but also giving out positive and making others smile, feeling better from angry, sadness, etc. about the situation. So, like with my major, I'm an artist, so I could draw a message or draw a picture that has a hidden message into it, whether it's positive or negative. And art is usually bringing people, to look into the piece and seeing what they think it might mean, and also spreading the word, to look. So I was thinking many can use talents or their majors that their work is spreaded throughout the world, basically. Additional thoughts. BLM is definitely something to look into with an individual's words, ways, etc. that can help the movement and other movements, issues, etc. Similar to it coming together and grow, learn, and keep alive for many other generations to come. The injustice and mistreatment of people for their differences should not still be alive in the world, but be learned and cherished from the understanding the beauties of the world and the universe has created, and what the world and universe has created. So what I mean by all of this is BLM and just all the movements and stuff that was created for us Black Americans in general should be seen as something that we can use. That should be used as a way for us to come together and not spread more hate, because an example, back in 2020, while the protests were happening, they were seen as destructive and horrible, even though there was a lot of other peaceful protests, but there were some violent ones, but they were only made because people weren't listening to the peaceful ones, so they had no choice but to make it violent, which a lot of people put that against them, but it wasn't their fault. So I believe either way, in general, I believe stuff like that shouldn't be happening. This stuff that's made, like protests and movements, etc., should be taken as a way for us as a community and countries, worlds in general, to come together and make changes before we're just gonna go back, basically backwards from what all the other generations like Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, etc. has done for us, basically. So yeah, that's my presentation.